All right, let's talk about stress. Those moments when it just feels like too much. Today, we're going to break down a simple, but honestly incredibly powerful technique from CBT specialist Veronica Walsh. It's something you can use anytime, anywhere to kind of pull yourself back to center. Okay, let's get into it. So let me ask you this. Have you ever felt, well, trippy? It's a word from our source material that just perfectly nails that feeling. When you're anxious, overwhelmed, maybe just completely frazzled. If you've ever felt that way, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So, what does feeling trippy actually mean? Well, think about those moments you feel like you're just sizzling with adrenaline. Veronica Walsh calls it being hopped up in fight or flight. That's it, right? It's that intense internal buzzing feeling of stress that feels like it's totally running the show. But here's the thing, and this is really important. That feeling isn't a flaw. Your body is this incredible, beautifully engineered machine. It's just that sometimes that machine gets a little, dysregulated. Think of it like a temporary glitch. And the best part, you can totally learn how to regulate it yourself. Okay, so to really get a grip on this, we've got to look under the hood for a second. We need to understand what's actually happening inside our bodies. And you know what? There's a really clear biological reason for this whole intense feeling, and it's probably way simpler than you think. So think about it like this. Our experience is basically woven together from 4 different strands. There's the cognitive part, our thoughts, the physical, what happens in our bodies, the emotional, our feelings, and the behavioral, what we do. When we're stressed, our thoughts get all twisted, our body gets flooded with hormones, we feel awful, and we might do stuff we regret later. The thing is, they all feed off each other in this big loop. But that's also the secret, right? Because if you can interrupt just one of those strands, the whole thing starts to unravel. At the very core of that trippy feeling, especially the physical jolt, is a chemical reaction. Your brain senses a threat, and it doesn't care if it's a real-life emergency or just a really stressful thought. Either way, it hits the big red button and floods your system with chemicals. And what's in that chemical flood? It's a surge of these specific stress hormones. You get a big shot of adrenaline, a wave of cortisol, and a rush of oxygen. That's the cocktail that creates that buzzy fight or flight feeling. But hey, pay attention to that list, because one of these things is not like the others, and it's actually our key to taking back control. And this is exactly why we need a tool that works on both the body and the mind at the same time. So let's get right to it. Here is a simple, proven exercise that gives you direct control over this whole messy process. The whole thing is basically just 2 steps. Easy. First, you breath it down. That takes care of your body's physical reaction. Second, you name 5 things. That handles your mind and pulls it out of that anxious spiral. So simple, right? Okay, let's break down exactly how you do it. Okay, remember that stress cocktail we just talked about? Adrenaline, cortisol, and oxygen. Well, here is the secret. Oxygen is the one part of that whole chemical mess that you can consciously control. You can't just tell your body to make less adrenaline, but you can control your breath. And by doing that, you can start to rebalance the entire system. Let's actually do one together. Go ahead, take a long, slow breath in through your nose. Now just hold it for a count or 2. And now a really long, slow exhale out through your mouth. Feel that shift? Every single time you do that, you are actively rebalancing the adrenaline and cortisol. You are literally, and I mean literally, taking back control of your own body's chemistry. How cool is that? All right, so once you start to calm that physical storm, it's time to deal with the brain. Those thoughts that just race and race and race. The goal here is simple. We need to pull your focus out of your head and anchor it in the world that's right here, right now. First things first, look around you. Right now. Name 5 things that you can see. And don't just list them, wall, light, chair. No, I mean really notice them. See the pattern on that rug? The little smudge on your screen? The exact color of that cup on your desk? This simple little action forces your brain out of that anxious loop and grounds it right here in the present. Okay, next up. If you're able to, close your eyes for a second. What are 5 things you can hear? Could be the hum of your computer, a clock ticking somewhere, cars outside, maybe even just the sound of your own breathing. This hones in on a totally different sense and grounds you even more deeply. And now for the last sense. I want you to notice 5 things you can physically feel. Maybe it's the solid weight of your feet on the floor, the texture of your shirt against your arm, the cool surface of the table under your hands. This connects you directly back to your physical self in this really calm, powerful way. So, after you've gone through the senses, sight, sound, and touch, you bring it all home by returning to that conscious breathing. Take a few more of those long, slow breaths. This is how you anchor it all in. It's like you're hitting the save button on that new feeling of calm. And for the final step, just stand up and literally shake it off. I know, it might feel a little silly, but shake your hands, your arms, your legs. Just think of it as physically discharging any of that leftover nervous energy. Just get it out of your system. Now, the real power of this whole exercise comes from making it a habit. Don't just save it for when you're in a full-blown crisis. The goal is to, as the source material says, bake it into your life. Practice it when you're calm so that when you need it, it's just second nature. It's your go-to tool. And here's a simple little mantra you can borrow. In those moments, you can just tell yourself, I'm just a little trippy, I'm okay, it's okay. See, you're not denying the feeling. You're just acknowledging it without any judgment and reminding yourself that you actually have the tools to handle it. Because really, that's the whole point of all of this. You are not at the mercy of your stress response. Once you understand what's happening in your body and in your mind, you gain the power to actually manage it. This exercise is your way of reclaiming that control. So I'll just leave you with this final thought. What would it feel like to know, with absolute certainty, that you have a tool right in your back pocket that can regulate your own body and mind anytime you need it? That's the power this simple exercise gives you. Thanks for checking out this explainer.